Can you see it now? Can you see it now? Hello? Go to the Real Time with John and Tracy page. Make it happen. And we'll go from there. Once again, you're going to want to go on the Real Town with John and Tracy Facebook page. ... And then you should be able to see us live, or see me live and in living person. Yay! Yeah. All right. This is good. This is good. There it is. Boy, oh boy. See me live and in living person. Okay, very nice. We're going to send that again to the lovely Jamie out in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. Love you, babe. So, okay, we have baseball, football. What is going on in the world of football? I mean, it's I don't know. The Bills all of a sudden are viable. The Browns have won more games in 2 weeks than they did in 2 seasons. And you've got a rookie out there in Baker Mayfield, that quarterback, who really is exciting. I don't believe that they play my beloved New York Football Giants this year, and I'm kind of upset that they don't, because I tell you what, that's a fun club to watch. Speaking of the G-men, 63-yard field goal, nail in the coffin down in Carolina by the Panthers to win it by 2 points, 33-31. Watching the game and, trying to find some silver linings. The team is improving. I will say that they are improving. Last year, that would have been a blowout, like 48 to 12. And the 12 would have been 4 field goals. But this year, they're competitive. The NFL did come out and say that there was a bad call that on that Landon Collins play that could have turned the fortunes for Big Blue, but you know what? You can't unplay the game. So on we go with a 1-4 record. But the good news is nobody in the NFC East has more than 2 wins. So everybody's still knee deep in the hoopla, to coin a phrase from Starship back in the late 80s. The Jets, 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 also with 2 wins now. And there's another rookie quarterback who, you know what, here's the thing. When you lean on him right now all the way to throw and succeed, it's not going to work. It just is not, okay? If you lean on, running backs to run the ball like they did this week, then things can work. Thus, the win by the former Titans of New York, the New York Jets. Yeah. So, it's in full swing. And Drew Brees, I can now say that I have seen Brett Favre in his prime, have seen Peyton Manning certainly in his prime, and certainly Drew Brees in his prime with the all-time passing leader numbers. And that goes back to, I had to think that Dan Marino was part of that mix at some point. Elway had to have been a factor in that bunch back when, and even going back a little further than that, Joe Montana, or as my dad would say, Joe Montana. Yes, of course, with an R on the end. And even going back before that, the various and sundry quarterbacks who are also good, going back, Roger Staubach, Terry Bradshaw, and the great Jan Plunkett. I don't think he was a yardage leader, but he did good things. He was, it's just uncanny. 71, almost 72,000 total passing yards. He'll get 72,000 probably this weekend. Unbelievable. Hey, if you can see us and or hear us, call us. Us meaning myself and Dr. Gene, the radio machine. You know what I'm saying? 609-807-2492. 609-807-2492. That's 24 for Willie Mays and 92 for Michael Strahan. So give us a call, 609-807-Willie Mays, Michael Strahan. 2492. All right, cool. Or Jeff Gordon, if you like racing, 2492. How about that? What else, Gene? Oh my goodness, the whole flap, for the previous 2 weeks about all this going on down in D.C. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I had a quick Facebook discussion with a gal who I know who lives around here in central New Jersey, in the just outside of Trenton. And basically, here's my take. What's going to happen is what's going to happen. And this was before the determination was made. And, and I've said this and said this and said this for years and years. This is why fill in the blank, Baskin and Robbins, Breyers, Ben and Jerry's. This is why all of them make many flavors, because everybody's got a different taste. Same thing when it comes to folks of political ilk, your mayor, your alderman, your state representative, your U.S. senator, or United States congressman, the dog catcher for that matter. You got to elect that guy. The sheriff. That's an electable position. As I'm chasing gnats here in the studio, Gene, you got to get rid of them banana peels. Or the president or a Supreme Court justice. I mean, we don't have we, the people, so to speak, don't have a direct line of input for people who are appointed. But yeah, we can sure as hell make our opinion known, and go ahead, do that. But be cool. Be cool. Don't be over the top about it. Gene, did you see those nuts last week? I think it was Thursday.
It was crazy.
All dressed in black. Really? You know what? Do you? And this is no gender specific. Right. Do you people not have homes, jobs, places to be on a middle of the day Thursday? Okay, go home, dust some furniture, do a dish, run the vacuum. Get to work, build a website, do your online thing that you do, get to your job, don't call in sick. And again, not gender specific, because I run the vacuum, I do the dishes, and I dust. Have since I've been a kid, so I don't want to hear about, oh, John, he's sexist. He told all the women to, sit down, be quiet, and do a dish. No, I told everybody to go home and stop that and do a dish, because they just look silly. They just look silly. Gene, to me, they didn't look like the protesters of, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
No, they're heartless people. They're a lot of them are just, I don't know what you want to say, homeless, but they'll do anything for money. Most of them, if you ask them why they're there, they'll tell you. They'll say, well, I don't know.
And that's the thing. If you go back,
my friend told me to come, so I came.
Go back to 72, okay? 1972. Vietnam is still going at full song, okay? And that was also a very polarizing moment in our country's history. There were people who were, gung-ho and all about getting over there and doing whatever the hell we were supposed to be doing, because now that was a whole convoluted mess too. And there were people who just, again, hell no, we won't go. And like I found this, I dig this, Gene, I found this out within the last 10 years, okay? My mother was silently one of those, oh no, kind of people. When Vietnam, when we opted out of Vietnam, it was 75. I was 11, okay? And you figure 6 more years, and I'd have been eligible. Now, again, the draft wasn't going by that point, but this is a gal who was brought up. She was a high school kid during World War II. So she had 2 brothers, one in the Pacific Theater for the most part, and my other uncle who was at the Battle of the Bulge. So all she knew was, oh God, my son's going to be old enough, before I know it, we're out of here to Canada. And I looked at her, I said, wait, what? This is, again, literally within the last 10 years. And she said, oh, yes, had it gotten to that point, and you would have been somehow required or even suggested to go, yes, we would have moved to Canada. I'm like, okay, good luck with that, because I wasn't going anywhere. No knock on Canada. Oh, it's like I have to qualify that now. I'm just saying. But back then, there was a thing. Everybody knew why they were there. You know what I mean, Gene? Everybody knew. Absolutely. When they protested, again, right, wrong, or indifferent, they knew why they were there. They knew. You ask, I'm going to say, and I'm being kind here, you ask half the people at these protests, like you just said, Gene, they have no idea. Or when you ask them the question about, so what brings you here today? Well, and we're protesting against the unfair treatment that's been perpetrated on this country for so long now that just it's unfair. So we need it to be fair because that's fair and balanced. Like Fox. No, wait a minute. I shouldn't have said that. But you know what I mean. It's fair because it's been so unfair. Oh, so basically, you really don't have a specific idea why you're here? Well, it's all about atoning for, days gone by and big corporate, initiatives that pump money into the system and the man that keeps us down. Although I do get 2 weeks vacation every year, so sometimes the man's not so bad, I guess. But, okay, thank you. Dave, back to you. And then they cut back to the studio. Okay. This is what democracy looks like. No, it really isn't.
Does anybody realize that we're a republic? We're not a democracy. Why do they keep saying democracy?
No more calls, please. We have a winner. Actually, how about some calls? 609-807-2492.
It's like the United States of idiots. I mean, really, isn't it? I mean...
Well, and this goes back, Gene, to me about what's being taught and or how it's being taught. But you know what? To those who are teaching out there that the United States of America is a republic, to the republic for which it stands, meaning the flag.
Flag's
okay?
right there, yeah.
Yeah, okay. To the republic for which it stands, okay? One nation under God, by the way, indivisible. You're not going to divide us, with liberty and justice for everyone. And the beauty part of that is, whether you're some cement-headed dolt, with black, makeup and the thing and, shirt and not going to work and you got a sink full of dishes and a dusty house with an unmade bed, or, you're living like the Vanderbilt.
Looking at my windows, John.
I make no confessions or guarantees. Or if you're living like the Vandergilts, like my grandma used to say, doesn't matter. This place for everybody. But do everybody a favor. If you got an axe to grind it in a civil manner, which brings me to another point I heard on the way over here. Okay? And take it how you will, absorb it how you will. But now all of a sudden, especially with the events the last week or so with the Supreme Court deal, the justice being appointed, Judge Kavanaugh. Congratulations to Judge Kavanaugh, and hopefully it's many years of good judgment. Okay, because I tell you what, if there's not, you're going to be called on it, pal. Okay, so do the right thing, be good, be nice, behave. Be fair, be a good judge. Now all of a sudden, as we're 27 days away from the midterm elections, now they're banging that drum on the other side about get in people's faces. Don't be civil. Follow them into the store. Follow them into the Zippy Mart. Follow them to the gas station. Get in their face. Be relentlessly inappropriate, basically, is what it boils down to. And this is from Mrs. Clinton to Maxine, moving on up to the East Side Waters. Okay. Well, we're moving on up. Okay. To Chuck U. Schumer, to, all that contingent talking about, well, we lost. You know what? The other side has lost too. They have. Okay. But you didn't hear that, well, we lost. Okay, you suck it up, you pull your pants up like adults, and you go through for the next 2, the next 4, the next 6, sometimes the next 8 years, okay, however long it is, for terms, for presidential terms, for senatorial terms, for congressional terms, for, again, alderman, dog catcher terms. Okay, you've got the dog catcher that maybe you don't like so much for the next however long the dog catcher term is, or the president, or this one, or that one. You know what? Civility, it goes a long way. It goes a long way, all right? Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill, back 35, 40 years ago almost now, they were from opposite sides of the deal almost every time. But you know what they did? They talked with each other. Remember, Gene? They would talk with each other, not to, and certainly not at each other, okay? When nowadays it's all the yelling and screaming and name-calling and finger-pointing and filth and foul and...
That's only in my house.
Well, and it's everywhere. I mean, look at the State House in Trenton. Look at the halls of Congress rather in D.C. You know, Tip O'Neill, Speaker of the House, and Ron Reagan would talk, and that's what you do. You talk, you visit, and then they would go out and have beers. Gina, we have a phone call? Oh, let's talk about it. Hey, it's REALTOWN Radio. It's the mayor. Who's this?
This is Frank.
Frank.
I'd like to call in on the show.
Wait, where are you, man? What are you, home painting or something? I mean, like, we got the seat all ready for you.
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, the third member of our little party here lately, Frank Cicino. So what's up, Frank? What you got? What are you thinking?
Oh, I just wanted to say that it's been a week since Kavanaugh has been confirmed, and I haven't heard the Democrats talk about it once. This is great.
Well, and it's until today on the way over. Again, I'm hearing of that side, and again, it's not like, you know, it's not like a game of telephone around the office. No, this is not that. This is on nationally syndicated radio broadcasts. That I'm hearing that, you know, that side is now, you got to get in their face. You got to be mean. You got to be relentless about, you know, because they didn't get their way. That's why. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm talking about everyday walk of life, out in the streets, Facebook. Nobody's mentioned it. No one said anything.
Right.
I haven't heard anything since the day it ended.
You're exactly right. When you're in your neighborhood, when you're at the job, when you're walking around the shopping plaza or whatever, you know what? Those jungle drums have stopped beating. The only place you're hearing it is with those who either have or believe they have some sort of sway in governmental leadership, such as it may be, because, again, they're whiny blooping because they didn't get their way. We don't get our way all the time, whoever we happen to be, okay? And
Agreed.
There's a contingent of people that don't whiny bloop. You know what? You suck it up, you learn from it, and you come back and do better next time. Whether it's on the political field, on the baseball field, on the football field, or you know, at home, at work. You know, you had a crap sales day, Frank. You know, what are we going to do about it? Well, John, I'm going to do better tomorrow. Okay, because tomorrow's another day. You know, and back to my whole thing too, Frank. It was just with Gene. I'm sure you remember going back into the early, mid, and even late 80s, Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill. They clashed like the Titans. They really did. But they talked about it, you know, and they didn't, I don't know, they didn't have this in-your-faceness about them. It was, Ron would just say, well, there you go again. And the message was delivered loud and clear. And then they go out for beers. They'd have cigars and beers because why? Because yes, they were political rivals, but they were friends.
You know what's funny? During the hearing, and Frank, you remember this too, where Lindsey Graham said to them, he said, "I voted for these people, and you won't. You know, what are you doing? What's going on here? He doesn't understand the concept anymore. It's changed. It's like whatever they do is wrong, and whatever that you do is wrong. Whatever you do for them is right." But whatever you do for yourself is wrong. And that's the way it is.
Exactly. That's right. It's however it benefits them.
And I think he's found out the hard way that all his friends are not his friends. They're loyal to the party, which is not loyal to the United States.
And
Agreed.
Agreed
100%.
That's oftentimes an issue.
Hey, listen, before we get carried away.
Go ahead.
I always wanted to say this.
Go ahead.
First time caller, love the show.
Yeah, you're on sports radio with Mike Francesor. Who we got? Frank there from Yardley. Frank. Yeah, first and long, Mike.
Thank you. First time, long time.
Thank you very much. By the way, we're brought to you by Peerless Boilers. Peerless Boilers, the best boilers on the market. Go ahead.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right on. So what's new in the Frank world? I mean, we visited the other night about back to football again, about some developmental 8-man minor league football. More to come on that.
That's all that's new. Me and you have a call scheduled for later tonight to talk more detail about that. So I don't want to go too much into that on the air.
No need.
But that's it. I'm doing my thing, and I was kind of a little far away from the show today. I couldn't get there, and then I log in finally on the show. I go to make a call, and my phone won't call out.
Oh, gee.
So I turn it off and turn it back on. Same thing. Then it pops up in a little corner that I have an update I have to do on my phone that won't let me call until I do the update. So I had to go do the update. That's what I've been waiting for, a call. And you've been talking about all these topics. I'm like, I got to get in on it.
Had it been an emergency, would you have been able to call?
Oh, man.
Frank, had it been an emergency, would you be able to call? You'd have to do the update first. Have to wait the emergency.
No, I couldn't do anything.
See what I mean?
Wouldn't even go to the call screen.
See, again, you've got you with the phone, Frank. Gino, you've got all this business with the audio and the video. Me, I had my woes with the bank. And to paraphrase the immortal words of Bugs Bunny, you think it might be? Could it possibly be? You think it could be a gremlin? Well, it ain't Wendell Wilkie. I tell you what, man, it's just they seem to be everywhere these last couple of days.
How about that Facebook hoax? Remember that? This whole thing?
Yes.
This was crazy.
What a crock
I got like 20,000 emails from everybody saying there's a Facebook hoax.
P.S. And if you didn't see this
John,
on my post earlier,
I saw your
folks.
post, John. I loved it. It was great.
Well, if you didn't, for those who didn't happen to see it, if John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt asked to friend you, don't do it because his name is my name too. That's all I have to say about that. Okay. There's some good ones out there. I saw a few good ones.
But you know the funny thing
I like the other thing you had on there where it said, if you're already my friend and you ask me for a friend request, why would I accept it?
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know the funny thing about it, Frank, it was a hoax, but there was also hacking going on while it was a hoax. So there was some truth about it because I've got a lot of friends saying they were hacked, just like John said. So there was a hack and a hoax, I guess you could call it.
or a hook and hacks.
Everything's possible nowadays.
Such a deal, man. I tell you what, such a deal. Coach Evans chiming in here. Hi, Coach. Good to see you. Good to see you're checking the show out. Thanks. I appreciate you listening. Thank you so much. It's always great to hear from Coach Evans, man. This guy, he's like Mr. Football. You know, he just really, really is. Who else? There's a few folks who are checking in and checking out the program. I'm just checking it right now. A lot of checking. I sound like the guy from radio out in Williamsport. Check it out. Check it out. There's a bunch of folks looking. Ken Brady was on here checking out the show and sharing the live video. Thank you, Ken-O. I appreciate that.
He's from the casinos.
Is that right?
No, I mean the real, not the casinos. You know, the casinos, the band.
Yeah.
He's the lead singer for them.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's in
Well,
Florida.
thank you, Ken.
So I wish him well.
That's 2 words. Florida. Yes, mother. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So at any rate, yeah. So what else is? Hey, you're getting back to a little gainful employment there, Franco. You having fun? You doing good things? What's going on?
John, I can barely hear you.
You getting back to work? How are you making out with all that?
I don't know what's going on yet. I got my company, that I started, and I'm moving forward with that. And
Good.
It's, a battle, but not a bad battle, just a timely battle.
I
It
hear
takes
you.
a while to get everything up and running, get everything moving, and all that kind of stuff. And in the meantime, I'm looking to do a little something on the side, little side work. So
Yeah.
I tried to see what my friends Amazon got going on.
Oh, that's right. Because you were over there for a while, some little bit back,
I
right?
was there for 4 years, yeah.
Right.
So they had some opportunities that fit into my timeline and my schedule, and I'm moving forward and seeing where that leads.
Outstanding. Well, all the best. I mean, it's good to have purpose, someplace to be. It's because we've all sort of been there, to whatever degree, when you're hanging around looking to do something, it ain't no fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's more of I need to do something.
Yeah.
You know, I've done everything I could on my end for my company, and I got things going on, but I got 3, 4, or 5 months of downtime waiting for the next thing to come up. So I'm like, okay, what can I do to keep, I can only do the honey-do list so long, before I run out of projects.
That's exactly right, and you got that place sparkling over there. I'm sure you
Oh, yeah.
do a dish, vacuum the floors, dust the damn furniture, son. Hurry up.
Exactly. Lucky I wear a cape underneath my T-shirt during the day, just in case I got to do something around the house.
Is it a cape or is it one of those frilly aprons? Nice. What?
Well, it's funny because my girlfriend and all her friends say it's a cape, but I always say I just wear underoos because it's easier.
Well, they say underoos are fun to wear. Something super new in underwear.
Exactly.
Oh man, how did I remember that? How did I not? Steel trap boy over here. So what else is in the offings here? What are we thinking about? Okay, we were talking about the Yanks and the Red Sox, the Giants and the Jets. I mean, back to little sports. I mean, we always do pretty well, you and I, in the world of sports.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk sports. I think, I heard you mention the Jets doing okay, and I think they're about a year or two away from being they're much better than they've been in the past.
I agree.
I think their quarterback, again, is young and going to make mistakes. Like I said from the beginning, he's gonna eventually get there. But like you said, if they don't have that running game, he's not going to win you a game by throwing right now.
It's as
Maybe
simple
in 3
as that.
years, but not now.
No, not now. I think back, and you, I'm sure, remember this too. And I'm going Giants here. When the Giants drafted that kid out of Morehead State back in '79, Phil Simms. He I'm not going to say he was a train wreck, but man, it was a game of 52 pickup every time that boy was on the field those first few seasons. Was he going to stink the joint up? Was he going to get hurt again? Okay. That one time I remember he got hurt following through on a pass, and he hit his hand on the top of an Eagles helmet.
On the helmet.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
Broke his hand, was out for weeks.
I think you could take all the quarterbacks that came right out of college and became stars in the NFL and had a long career, not just a 1 or 2, maybe 3-season career, but guys who stood the test of time. You can put them in less than 5. Like Mahomes is doing it now.
He is.
Who knows what Baker
Mayfield, yeah, out in Cleveland.
Thank you, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Who knows how he's going to be? But he's starting out to be that kind of quarterback, and we'll see. But
all indications,
again, coming right out of school and jumping on a field is usually not the best route.
Well, and you look at one of the ones recently or semi-recently I can think of that was not an instant on the field kind of guy. Let's go to Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. He's phenomenal now. But you know what? He stood in Mr. Favre's shadow there for a few seasons, and
exactly.
He learned from the adults, so to speak, and they had to reteach him too. If you remember, Frank, he had a very scholastic / collegey thing about him, where he'd bring that ball up with 2 hands up by the side of his helmet there by his ear, which we were all taught to do as children, throwing a football. But when you get to a certain point, you got to not do that. So there he was as a California University Bear. This, like so, is okay. 2 hands up by your ear. Okay, that's different. When you get to the pros, that's just one more piece of action that you don't need to do. You need to know how to get that ball, survey, scan, make your reads, and let it fly. And that's just another second that you don't have, bringing your other hand up by it. And they had to reteach him. He had a flaw. He had a big flaw. Well, Randall Cunningham, he threw it like he was throwing a baseball in from center field all the damn time. But you know what?
Exactly.
It worked. It worked. For him, you know what? After a certain point, you just like, Randall, go. Do your thing. Have fun. Win some games. And he did, But here again, he wasn't instant on the field, too. He sat behind Jaworski there for just a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
If you really dug into this topic and look, I'll bet you 90% of the quarterbacks that came out of the gate their first season that played really, really well
Right.
usually had a bad second and third season, and by the fourth season they were back to where they were.
Of course.
Deshaun Watson had that same kind of issue this year. He played 6 unbelievable games last year, came out the gate this year, and he was a mess.
Yeah.
And a lot has to do with his offensive line, obviously.
Of course.
But, he also had issues, and now he's starting to get back to where he was, except that he's taking a pounding now, and who knows if he's going to play this week.
Well, and that's what you also have to watch, especially with quarterbacks like that, who are talents, who are mobile talents, but who are not big, giant, so to speak, mobile talents. He's not built like Cam Newton, for example. But,
Exactly.
But even so, you rattle Cam Newton's cage enough times, and he's gonna break a little bit too. But I think you're exactly right. Again, it boils down to knowing your talent and going with what the talent gives you, like we talked about before. I'm even thinking of Donovan McNabb. There's a guy who took the Eagles to the Super Bowl. Let me tell you what, he stood behind Rodney Peete there for at least that first season, if not into the second, if I'm thinking right. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're exactly right. And since we're on topics of quarterback, I just have to bring up that Drew Brees set the record on Monday night.
Oh, beautiful.
And to me, if you gave me top 5, I'd say Brees is in the top 3.
Oh, sure.
Not just because of what he does on the field, but because of what he does off the field.
Yep.
He is like the consummate professional, the way he helps the communities, the way he is with his kids and his family, and the way he is with their fans. And after Hurricane Katrina, he was all over New Orleans helping build houses and all that kind of thing. And never been in trouble. You never hear a bad word about him. And he's just amazing when he's on the field.
And he's a guy who, personally, I've had him as my fantasy football quarterback. Now, this is my 3rd season in a row. He's my guy. Okay, because and before that, going back a few years, in another league I was in, he was also my guy. So this is at least my 4th, if not 5th, overall season having Drew Brees as my fantasy quarterback. And you're exactly right. He's cut out of the Derek Jeter bolt of cloth to where he's fantastic. He's a true talent, a gift to the game, but you never hear a bad thing about him. You just don't. He goes and he does his thing. And I thought that was even before NFL Network, ESPN, ABC, or any of them made a thing about it. I watched that happen when he went over to the sidelines and told his young children, "You can do anything you want. See, kids, you really can do anything you want. You just have to work at it. You just have to work at it. That's all. And it's not like work, arduous, painful work. No, that's not what he means. He means like the Jim Valvano, don't give up, don't ever give up kind of work.
Right.
And
that's right. Eventually you'll hit that sweet spot.
Yeah. And here's a guy, he's not 6'3" or 4 or 5, 240 pounds. No, but he's 5'11". He is 5'11". And if he goes 2 bills on the field, 200 pounds, that's maybe with all of his equipment on. You know what I mean?
He's getting old now. He might be hitting 200 now.
Well, but you know what I mean, though, Frank. I mean, he's not.
Yeah, I do.
He's not Ben Roethlisberger. He's not Josh Allen up in Buffalo. Where did this kid go? We know where he came from, but wow, this kid's having success. He's a big dude. He's not Cam Newton. He's not Peyton Manning-esque. He's not even Tom Brady-esque. He's 5'11".
And going into the fantasy football thing that you're talking about, I've used them many times myself when I use them. And even when he has a bad game, he's still in the top 10 or 15 fantasy points for quarterback.
Yeah.
Even when he has his worst days.
Well, he only threw 2 touchdowns and 279 yards. Oh, I'm sorry for your suffering. No interception. Right. Oh yeah, and he had 20 yards on the rushing as well. Yeah, thanks, Drew. Sorry for your lack of success there.
Right, exactly.
No, I agree. We all the stuff that people chirp about, Frank, and gripe about, because we've been in it with our semi-pro rules, about the rules and how, it's getting soft. And I'm not going to disagree with that, really. But you know what? We live in a time, and I don't know if you heard me say it, that where, we have seen so many great players in our times, from Joe Namath to Dan Marino to other guys who were great but kind of unsung, like Chuck Muncy out in San Diego. Remember him?
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Rocky Blyer and Franco Harris, Kenny Stabler, Dave Casper, Ghost to the Post, all those dudes, and then Favre and Manning and Drew Brees. What? I mean, these are guys who I'll be bouncing my grandson on my knee in 30 years saying, you know what, when I was coming up, when I was a younger fellow, we saw all these guys. Everybody's had their guy. My mom and everything, they had Slingin' Sammy Baugh. They had Otto Graham, fantastic. But boy, what a lexicon, what a pantheon of players to really fall back.
Look at like even back then, you had guys like Fran Tarkenton, who was no way an NFL quarterback to the standards of what they said it should be.
Nope.
And again, like the Drew Brees, he proved everybody wrong.
Yeah. He rewrote the book. I remember watching him, during the latter days of his career up in Minnesota, and they still couldn't catch him.
Right, exactly.
He ran around like a squirrel on the highway trying to avoid the traffic. I mean, and they couldn't catch him. And then all of a sudden, boom, he'd let one go and touchdown, Speaking of that team, how about like Alan Page? There's a guy back then, he was everywhere. Now you don't hear a thing about him because, well, that was 40 years ago. So what? We got to see guys like that. Wow. Just brilliant play, man. Just very, very great. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. You're going to catch any NFL games live and in living person this year, Frank, or are you just going to from the comfort of your domicile?
I like to do it from the comfort of my couch, but at best I'd go to maybe a sports bar or something like that. I really don't go to games anymore. Like we were talking a couple weeks ago, it's just hard for me to watch like a regular fan because of the way my brain works. I'm looking at things that have nothing to do with what's going on. I'm seeing the coach's view, I guess you could say, or the player's view.
Yep.
And I missed everything, and it just gets confusing because everybody's like, "Didn't you see that?" And I'm like, "No." I'm watching something else.
Everybody's cheering because the wide receiver just caught a 68-yard pass, and you're there like, "Oh, doggone it! What do you mean? That lineman missed his block."
Right. Exactly. Who am I chewing out on that play?
Exactly right. Oh my! But that's okay, that's
for me. When I'm at a game, I look at it like I'm watching game film.
Right.
If you want to put it that way, right?
Right. Except you can't rewind. Well, you can see it on the big diamond vision, so to speak. But other than that, you can't rewind.
What I do. I go when all my buddies are done treeing, I'm like, watch the replay. Watch this guy right here. Look at this block, or something like that.
Watch the fullback truck the linebacker and make that play happen. Boom.
Exactly.
Oh man, that's good stuff. That is great stuff. What's on tap for the weekend?
I'm gonna let you go so you can finish up your show. It's to that time.
Oh, wow. Where's the time? Even solo, Gino. Holy fright, it goes by in a hurry. Well, listen, I have a great weekend, Frank. I'll catch up with you after. We'll talk a little bit more football that we want to talk about. But, yeah, enjoy the weekend. Do your thing, and we'll catch you around REALTOWN next time.
You too, John. I'll see you next week.
You got it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Good stuff. Yeah, Frank, I knew he was busy with a few things today, and I know he wanted to get in, but hey, long distance, remember? It's the next best thing to being there. Oh, man. Yeah, showing my age with that one, huh, Gino? And Frank. All right, so what else? Let's put a cap on it because now we got 32 after the hour. Yeah, I'll give it a few minutes. Here again, there's a lot going on. Week 6 coming up in the National Football League. Hello, everybody. Howard Cosell. Speaking of sports, we're brought to you by Datsun. Suddenly, it'll dawn on you. Datsun saves. I'll be back in 60 seconds. That was, for those of you who remember, that was Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock on 77 WABC. There was no news at 6 o'clock. It was Howard Cosell speaking of sports. Once again, the punctuous pontifications permeate the purple atmosphere of Minnesota. He would have loved the Super Bowl last year. Anyway, the National Football League week number 6 starts tomorrow. Tomorrow night. Where? Glad you asked. Just up the turnpike a piece. It's the Philadelphia Eagles visiting the New York Football Giants, of course. It's going to be a tough one, I think, for Big Blue. They're almost there. But I think the Birds having a few more days of rest, so to speak, or being maybe a little bit more stacked, even though they've only won 2 games. You know what? It could go either way. Really could go either way, but against my better judgment, I am thinking that the visiting team may eke out the win tomorrow night. And there's a game in London, 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. It's a game in London, and then a full slate of games the rest of the day. Whew, it's a busy one. Plus, the Major League Baseball champion, National and American League Champions Series. Oh, again, the Dodgers and the Brewers. I beg your pardon. I just can't get used to Gene. I just can't get used to the Astros being in the American League. I just can't. Dodgers and the Milwaukee Brewers, and of course the Houston Astros and the Boston Red Sox. Going to be a wicked hot series there. I think the Sox are going to pull it out. Of course. So there you go. What are you folks doing this weekend? Whatever it is, be careful. Be good. Be careful. Have fun. Be nice. Behave, like I tell my son. Be a friend, but don't take any undue crap from anybody ever. And always be your best. Have fun. Do good things, okay? And careful out there on the roadways. Doing a bunch of traveling lately, and it just always, amazes me how sometimes people get to just flying up and down the highways, and sure enough, more often than you like to see, 10 miles down the way, they're in the ditch or into somebody else, Be careful. Keep that vehicle maintained. Have fun. It's supposed to be a decent weekend. We might get some of the effects of the Hurricane Michael business here in the next 24 to 36 hours. But after that, we should be, knock on wood, in for a decent weekend. It's the mayor of the mayor of REALTOWN's birthday weekend, you people. Yeah, buddy. I don't know what we're doing. I'm just glad to just hang out and do. Jamie, you and me. That's what it's all about. We'll do that, all right? Good. That's about all I've got, Gino. What do you think? We got the Alpha Male Show coming up?
Yeah, it should be coming up, yeah.
Our buddy Ed with the Alpha Male Show coming up here in about 25 minutes here on the big program on the BigHamiltonRadio.net. So that's about the size of it for now. Until then, for Tracy, oh, they're not here. That's right. For Tracy and Frank, I'm the mayor of retail. Let's try it again. Take 2. For Tracy, for Frank, I'm the mayor of REALTOWN. I'm John. We'll catch you next week. I might be the mayor of retail too. I haven't been shopping in a while, and I don't need to go. Just so you know, IKEA is closed on whatever day we're going, so we're not going. Okay. Hey, see you. Peace.